The following opinions are solely those of BoatTEST.com and its test captain. Hi, I'm Steve for BoatTEST.com, and today we're going to be conducting a sea trial of a new launch from the Ocean Alexander shipyard, the 70E. This new yacht represents an evolution in design for Ocean Alexander in that she brings a new size range to the lineup, thereby making the brand available to a wider audience. Let's start by getting right underway. In close quarters, she's an excellent handling boat, as we've now come to expect from the Ocean Alexander line. Just a nudge into gear has her responding, and judicious use of the bow thruster will have her coming out of her tight confines and heading to open water where she can run free. As to how well she does there, the Ocean Alexander 70 Evolution has a length overall of 70 feet 6 inches, a beam of 18 feet 2 inches, and a draft of 5 feet. With an empty weight of 84,641 pounds, 63% fuel, and 3 people on board, we had an estimated test weight of 91,000 pounds. With a pair of 900 horsepower IPS1200s powering our test boat, we reached a top speed of 26.7 knots at 2350 RPM. That top speed translated into 0.3 nautical miles per gallon, and that number stayed consistent down to 1750 RPM and 15.7 knots, with a fuel burn of 45 gallons per hour translated into a range of just over 327 nautical miles. She handles quite well with excellent stability. Her heavy weight helps her to remain relatively flat during turns, and she has excellent control authority even at low speeds. With only mild chop, we really can't comment on how she would handle in significant sea conditions, but the conditions that we did have still told the story of a boat that remains remarkably stable regardless of the directions the seas were coming from. She carves nicely through the water with the stately effect of a much larger yacht, and we had little wind from the open helm of the flying bridge. And notice how she can be comfortably controlled with the joystick steering system. As this boat targets the owner-operator, her handling around the dock is more significant. Let's take another look as we put her back where we found her. Being a pod-driven boat, we really didn't expect any adverse characteristics, and didn't find any either. We backed her right down the narrow confines of the marina with just the cockpit joystick, and she was predictable and easy to control. Once in, I could have easily caught a line and tied her up single-handed, and that speaks to her ability to be handled by a cruising couple with minimal or even no crew. So now that we've tied her up, let's take a look at some of her operational features, starting with the flying bridge. The helm has dual stid helm seats, one for the observer, one for the captain, and the captain gets armrests that are populated by both the joystick for joystick steering and the controls for the 2 displays up on the island pod. The 2 screens can be also operated as touch screens. We've got a compass just below, controls for the bow thruster, stabilizers, remote control spotlight, and the controls for the anchor windlass. Moving aft, we have the Volvo Penta display, the digital engine controls with all its features, and the VHF radio. The antennas can all be accessed easily by a service ladder. The lower deck helm is offset slightly to port. The stid helm seat fully adjustable. Both armrests are populated with controls for the electronics just above and the joystick steering. And I appreciate that the captain has quick access to the port side deck through a watertight door. At the working end of the bow, the rail height comes up 40 inches for safety. We've got hawse holes going through the bulwarks, leading to heavy-duty bollards. Windlass controls are to the port-hand side. The windlass is mounted in the center, and notice how it goes through the stem. We've got access hatches to both sides for getting to the all-chain rode and managing tangles, and we also have a cleat for securing the rode. To both port and starboard, heavy-duty chafing gear leading to warping winches and large bollards. Foot control. And joystick functionality also gives us the ability to put a joystick pretty much anywhere we want. Here we have one in the cockpit, so this gives us full view of the starboard hand side as we're coming into the dock. At the swim platform, there are cord reels to the starboard side, and a door closes off the area. We appreciate this arrangement as there's no trip hazard like we see when the cords come out of the riser and the stairs. Also, notice how the cleats blend in so well to the clever grab rails up to the stairs. The crew quarters are accessed from a watertight door in the center of the transom. To the port side, we have a berth for a single crewman, storage over to the starboard side. Moving forward, we have a wet head, and then access to the engine room. Engine room has ceiling height of 6 feet 2 inches. Between the rails, we've got 23 inches. Powered by a pair of Volvo Penta IPS1200 950 horsepower engines, driving pods, and they're connected by jack shafts, so we've got the pods further back from the engines. Generators are to both sides. To the starboard side is a sea recovery water maker. Batteries are in separate containers and all secured properly. The side power bow thruster control is over to the starboard side. Our dual water intakes are certainly clearly visible and easily serviceable. At the forward bulkhead, we've got the breaker panels for our 120 volt, 24 volt, the batteries for the generator, and the house batteries. The fuel tank is just forward of this bulkhead, but notice that we have a sight tube to see the level. Dual fuel filters for each engine that include a suction gauge and a crossover so we can change the filters on the fly. Our air conditioning systems are all over to the port side. Overall, the 70 Evolution represents a huge leap for Ocean Alexander in creating a smaller yacht that makes the brand available to a new market while keeping the quality of build, fit and finish, and handling that we've come to expect from the brand. With the factory right in Merritt Island, Florida, there's an added quality control that can't be minimized either. And that's my full sea trial. For BoatTEST.com, I'm Captain Steve. We'll see you on the water.